And if you're still here in the chat, please sound off. Like I said, I know we haven't been talking to you directly as much as we normally do, but I think that it makes for a more dynamic game. Every now and then, friends, every now and then a DM gets to just sit back and let I see Charlotte floating around like a little fairy there. Every now and then a DM gets to sit back and watch the players take control of the plot, and it's always incredibly gratifying, and I loved everything about that. So let's talk a little bit out of character, off game, about what happened. Highbane, you're still here. I am so glad that you stuck around for the whole time. Highbane is someone who came in from Daniel's Discord, and hopefully they will tell all the rest of the folks on Daniel's Discord how amazing our game is, so that we'll end up getting more folks here. Let's talk about this. Normally at this point, I would go around and ask for nods and ask for all that other stuff, and we can still do that. But for the very moment, I just want to get some reactions from folks. Now, we haven't heard from Jeff or Jen in quite some time because that was a long scene. So let's say Jeff, not Calder, let's get your reaction. What did you think about that last scene? I thought it was pretty fucking amazing. What did you think about all that?
I really wish I could have seen it, but no. But yeah, it's like, yay, character got to go through a lot of pathos that I know nothing about. So
for the moment, right? For the moment.
I'm not sure if you've paid attention, Rob, but like Laura's not the sharing type.
That's true.
It'll be hard not to share a weeping,
like a weeping fucking wound. Yeah,
that is a thing.
But on the list of grand things to see, it's like we are in a dangerous cave full of acid spores. I don't know.
Hey, I'm gonna roll damage on myself real quick. I'm sorry.
Yes, and I want to mention that those wounds, particularly during high stress periods like running or jumping or climbing trees. Wait, that's Eddie Izzard. Like or combat or something. The blood will seep through the clothing. Like, even if you keep it bandaged. When Lore is in periods of significant stress, particularly significant physical stress, the blood will begin to show on both the front and the back, unless extraordinary means are taken to stop the blood from showing up.
Oh my god.
Cool. I have 25 hit points total now.
Oh, fine.
That was almost minimum damage. I want you to know that.
Wait, it damaged to your max? Not your current, your max?
That's what I'm doing with it, yes.
Yes.
So like the thing that it tried to do to Meepo.
Yeah.
The thing that the white, by the way, which is what that was, attempted to do to Meepo. Yes, so Lore's maximum HP is lowered by, it looks like 8.
8.
Up until some moment in the future when those wounds get to heal. But for now, they will be constantly open. Like these wounds will bind together and scab over, but they will never do more than scab over. They will never heal. They will never scar over, because we're talking about a wound that had been present on a Fey creature for untold centuries or millennia.
Yeah.
But ultimately, my thought on the matter is,
Jen, what did you think about just the whole session in general? Not necessarily just the end scene, but how did you feel about the session in general?
I really enjoyed getting to do more vignette style stuff where there was splitting up and more emotional responses and consequences, and having to actually be forced to deal with those consequences. One of the things that I had read or listened to, I can't remember whether it's this, like an article or something I listened to on YouTube, it's all the same, but had talked about how 5e is really more it's good for combat, but it's not necessarily as good for setting up those emotional moments. So it really, the Kotaku article that my husband read to me. So it really does, we have to do the work. And I think we have done spectacular work. We have been working on this for quite a while. And this scene that was done was metaed a little bit in preparation. They didn't do the scene or anything, but it was definitely talked about because we had to think of what was going to happen, what's going to happen, how we're all dealing with it. And I'm having a great time. I liked just listening to it that's a really powerful scene.
As Gail mentioned in the comments, this is the time to ask us questions. This is the time to interact with us directly for the next, theoretically, 45 minutes or so. We're gonna just chill out and talk about what happened in the game. And Highbane asks, what do you play outside of 5e? I can answer that one first. I'm currently playing in 2 games outside of this one. One of them is run by M, and the other one is run by a friend of mine who is a player in my other D&D game, which is currently slightly on hiatus as we are in between modules. And both characters are cowboys, basically. 6-shooter and
But what's the
cowboy
systems?
hat.
What's the system?
The system that M is running is Starfinder, which is just, I know Paizo can suck shit, but like the Starfinder system is absolutely spectacular. So I'm running with a more or less basic human in Starfinder. And then the other one, Gail, can you remember what's it called?
It's called The Between, and it's working on the Apocalypse engine, so it's a little similar to Dungeon World, but it's gothic horror in Victorian England.
Yeah, kind of Penny Dreadful, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen type. And in that one, I am quote the American, who is a cowboy
not an American werewolf.
with a gun who tends to solve problems with violence, and has some secrets that the other players technically aren't allowed to know about yet. What are the rest of you playing elsewhere right now?
I've been running some form of Legend of the Five Rings for the last 10 years now, over 10 years. And particularly for those that give it a crap, I use 4th edition because I loathe Fantasy Flight and don't care to give them money. So I will continue to enjoy my 4th ed because I love it.
Em, what else are you up to? Oh, sorry, I did not mean to cut you off.
But no, but that said, I played a huge bevy of games, but L5R and this game are the only things I'm doing at the moment. Although I do have a tabletop SCP game set in the Chronicles of Darkness books. And that's a lot of fun.
I'm running in that now and ran in that before. I am very happy to be running, to be in a game that is Chronicles or World of Darkness. I think M not so much. We all have settings and things that we know better, and I am more comfortable using that setting and using that that particular, even though it's the newer one that I don't know as well, I still know it way better than Dungeons and Dragons, regardless of which, when we're doing. So I'm like, oh yeah.
I have to say, cool. I miss 3.5 only because in 3.5 as a DM, I ran a game that started out in 3.0 and converted to 3.5 and lasted for 3 years. And it's gotten to the point where I can come up with an encounter, or could come up with an encounter in 3.5 and balance it just off the top of my head. I would not have to look at the monster manual. I would not have to look at any resources. I would know how to set up an encounter just off the cuff because I had so much experience with it. But I have to say that 5th edition is superior to 3.5 as much as 3.5 is my love. And by the way, I started in 2nd edition AD&D, so I started with Thaco, my friends.
Thaco, yes, I remember Thaco.
Ugh.
Em, what are you
I do
playing?
Do not
in other
remember
than this?
Thaco fondly.
Oh,
Em, what are you playing in other than this?
Oh, I was gonna go last.
Oh, okay, cool. Gail, go for it.
I'm that. I've played in 3.5. I played 4th edition for a little bit there, and I didn't know.
I think 4th
I
edition
liked
is
it for what it
underrated
was.
personally.
I liked it for what it was, but it was pretty limited in what it was. What it did well, and it didn't do anything else very good at all. But yeah,
Fourth edition was the Windows ME of Dungeons and Dragons.
I've played a bit of Dungeon World. I've played a bit of different apocalypse engine sort of things. I'm forgetting the name of it now, but there's a superhero build your own powers thing that my boyfriend likes to run. No.
You should tell us about
But
Ran.
That's also 5e. I love 5e.
Yeah, but that's
I will
what are you
warp.
playing? That's who are
Yeah.
you playing?
I'll warp 5e to fit any other setting. Just watch. I'm that kind of 5e dungeon master. Go ahead.
So I have to crack my knuckles on this because I'm a goddamn nerd. So I recently am at that point where like most of my games are ending. My current games are a Scion First Edition game that I am playing in. I used to be running a First Edition game. I frequently play a D20 Modern Urban Arcana game that I like run repeatedly because it's just a module that I really love. I'm in a Mage the Awakening big ol' nerd. I do Changeling the Lost. I do multiple of the Powered by the Apocalypse games. I have a few that I really love, including some superhero ones, and demigods. I run Little Wizards, which is a game designed for like children to introduce them into role playing. It's very excellent. And then I do obviously the Paizo products. I do Pathfinder First Edition and Starfinder. I have the stuff to run Second Edition, but I'm not super into it. So, and that is a scratch on the surface of my nerddom. I'm very sorry. Also, Blue Rose, which is one of those really, really wild ones.
And I also run another 5th edition game, although we're technically on hiatus at the moment. We just finished up the Storm King's Thunder module, which was just like, there are some serious problems with Storm King's Thunder, but if you have a particularly good DM, and I would like to think that I'm pretty good at this. Storm King's Thunder was one of the most satisfying modules I've ever run, and Gail here, Olivia here was one of the characters. I would possibly say the main character.
She became kind of at the end
since she came into it, and
dooming the world will do that.
I'm almost really sad that I didn't record the last session, because like the very end epilogue of everything was so goddamn good. Like I said, I've run a lot of games. I've run a lot of games in a lot of different systems, and one of the most satisfying endings to any game that I've ever played was the Storm King's Thunder ending that we just had. It was really just absolutely incredible. Strongly recommend the module if you have a DM that's able to work on the fly, because it's a really big sandbox, and I had to make some serious modifications to make it a coherent story, but it was really, really good. Also, hi Bane and anyone else who is new here, we ran the Sunless Citadel before this module, which you can find on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/gamingmathematically. There is a playlist with 27 hours of us playing the Sunless Citadel, and that was really great as well, and I really appreciated that.
I don't know how to spell mathematically.
Mathematically, yes. So getting back to this session, which again, like this is our time to go off on weird tangents. It's only 9:15. We've got some time. I want to do a thing that I do at the end of every game, and I want us to do it really fast so that we can get it done, because I think it's really important, before we get sidetracked again, which we will, I think it's really important for us each to go through and tell our viewers and to tell each other what's something in particular that you had fun with this session, and I have a feeling that one's going to be pretty long because a lot of great stuff happened. And also, what is another player character specifically that you would like to shout out, or we used to call it nodding back in the day. What's a player character you would like to nod?
We also used to call this section circle jerks, so like, let's
yes. What is... God damn it! What is someone else that you would like to shout out for excellent role play or excellent gaming in general? And let's who do I want to start with this time? Let's start with Jen this time. What's something you had fun with? What's someone that you want to nod?
So I'm nodding fucking M for the whole lore thing. I mean, that was a lot, and it was a lot to have to do. So I'm definitely nomming M for lore. I had a ton of fun of getting to be part of the Fuck It Bad Decisions group for once with this character.
Clarion was really kind of on the side of let's not do the dumb thing, and it's really nice for Kreitha to be like, no, let's do the dumb thing.
As a recipient of the first application of Thunderwave, I would like to disagree with that sentence.
Look, Clarion was like, let's not do the dumb thing. Oops, I did the dumb thing.
Yes, that's exactly. Clarion
do as I say, not as I do.
Very impulsive and didn't understand what he was doing half the time. He was just very young, is a way to put it. Kreitha is way more pragmatic than Clarion ever was, but Kreitha also is totally here to continue to investigate. Like, she's not here for the same reason everybody else
We're not sure yet.
Most definitely.
We're still not sure what Kreitha's motivations are, and I'm here for that. Like, yeah. I'm really here for that.
We don't know what Kreitha is. She has not been giving you. Turn. So she's not been giving you her motivations. She's not been, entirely truthful or entirely lying, to be honest. She does see that this party is a way to an ends to a means to be more protection to her as she is here doing her job. But she also wasn't trying to force Calder and Meepo to stay. She does kind of like the group. I will say she's not as fond of lore. Not as fond of Lore. Keep in mind that she's not seen any of the good parts of Lore at all. Like, she came in on Lore being at her worst. Yeah. So she doesn't have any she understands a little bit that this is happening because of grief. She does understand that, but she has yet to see really what she would consider to be redeeming qualities, aside from the fact that Lore can be ruthless with her enemies. That is a redeeming quality for a goblin.
For a goblin, yes. Absolutely. And prowess in combat. Yeah. The first thing that Kreitha saw, right, was lightning bolt, acid ball, lightning bolt.
You guys are fucking so strong, and she's not. Like, she's the same level as you, but a level 5 ranger is nothing.
Here's the thing,
any of the rest of you.
Once Kreitha picks up sharpshooter, yeah, she's probably going to be the highest damage dealer here, because sharpshooter plus crossbow expert is like one of the combos in this game.
So how do you pick up another feat?
You gotta get an ABI
when you hit level 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah,
but yeah, so she despite herself, And it is lonely down here.
But you have Stinky.
She is aware that she is surrounded by enemies. But it's not the first time that she has been alone in a place surrounded by enemies. Whether figuratively or literally, it's not the first time. So she's kind of just swinging with it as best she can. And she feels like astonishingly bad for Calder. Well, let's be honest. Calder has, between Calder and Lore, they've both been fighting, but Calder has been, with the parts that she's seen, Calder has been more empathetic and there than Lore has.
And more.
She hasn't seen any of the empathetic.
It's weird calling Calder the reasonable one, but in this particular instance, he
kind of feel offended by that.
Kind of has been.
That's the thing. It's so weird, and some of it is just the way that Kretha thinks, but a lot of it is she came in here at the worst moment.
Yes,
like she was just hanging out, going, "What am I gonna do now?" So she was resting. I lost all of my company.
Fair enough.
My company.
Nice.
I've got to figure out something. And then this party lands on her lap, has killed the roper, but is obviously broken. So it is in her best interest to try to unbreak it as much as she can. It is in her best interest to stay with them, especially after she actually sees them fight. Because that first fight, she was, holy crap, her eyes were just opened. She was used to being the sneaky strong one in the groups that she's with. No, these people just blew her away.
Let's move to Gale.
I was going to say, who did you want to nod?
I nodded M.
She nodded M right away.
Right.
That was the very first thing she did.
Right.
And that's like I can't help but agree. And I'll do mine in a little bit. Gale, why don't you go ahead? And
I want to nod Jeff for playing Calder in such a convincing way, even in the little three of them went off sort of thing. Meepo's being incorrigible, cute Meepo stepping in shit, and Calder is just losing it a little bit more every day.
As a quick side note, by the way, in the Google Meet, any text that you send while we're in this scene is visible. It pops up right there.
This particular scene.
Only in this scene, only in this bit. But I just wanted to make sure you all knew that, so you're not like saying things that you don't want the viewers to see.
No.
But yeah,
shit. Yeah,
it was
nothing offensive was spoken.
Watching Calder kind of fall back on that, like interacting with Meepo when he's woken up a white and Calder just wanted to nap. That was peak tired energy, and I loved it.
Yes.
That was like more than peak tired energy. That was
anger,
I worked in
depression.
retail for far too long to deal with this.
And like with Meepo, like it's a shrine. He knew that it was where Durgadon lay, and his thought was, when people die in that kind of traumatic situation, undead tend to happen. I'm a paladin. Like, he knew he was going into a fight, and he did it deliberately because, like, that's
He's
what
a
he
paladin.
does now. And that's a choice that the viewers made. I want to be very clear that the viewers here and on twitter.com/mathdemigod. Yes, excellent plug.
I'm gonna put exclamation point Twitter, and if your Twitter doesn't come up,
it won't, because I don't have commands yet. But like his personality is changing as well, and it feels weird to be a DM playing a pseudo player character. But I'm really enjoying his development as well. Anyway, Gale, keep going.
Yeah, and I had a lot of fun getting to do the long Charlotte finally asking Laura all of these questions that they haven't had any alone time to do, talking about the guilt she feels about the calls she made to get us all here. And I, on a meta sense, I know we would have eventually gotten down to the Roper's lair one way or another, but in Charlotte's mind, it's her fault they fell down there. And it's very interesting to hear Laura's rebuttals to the different parts of it.
It was interesting to hear Lore defend you and condemn Calder, like in the same breath.
When events are entirely outside of our fault.
And yes, when it comes down to it, like, both of you made equally good and bad decisions. Both of you had equally bad circumstances. It's just it's a neat bit of character development that I really like. I like the fact that Laura's like, fuck Calder. And Charlotte's like, why aren't you mad at me? And it's like, no, you're fine. Just fuck Calder.
They're all forgetting that it actually was Clarion who was trying to talk to the orcs and was so mad that Laura was just shank. And Claire's like, but we could get,
if only
so
Clarion had been able to talk to the Roper.
Yeah, he did. It just was the wrong kind of conversation.
Other words for Clarion, words like bite and chomp and nom.
Yeah, Clarion's not into vor.
Gail, anything else you wanted to say before we move on to Jeff?
That was my bit.
Jeff, what was something you had fun with? What's someone you want to nod?
It's really interesting playing a character who's less emotionally mature than you. And so, like, I'm thinking through my thought process of, this would be a stupid thing to say. But Calder's not actually ready for that growth yet, so... like that, I loved those trade of quips between Laura and Calder, because Calder is tired. Calder is snapping, but he's not volunteering the snark but he will. But it's very much, service serve returned. So, but at the end of the day, like I love that catharsis he had with Kretha afterwards. Like, why don't you want to go with them? I do. Absolutely, I do. I just know that if I tried, Laura would stab me. Because Laura wouldn't stop him either way.
Well,
Kretha doesn't understand why you wanted to
accurate.
give them money.
I'm going to say 75% accurate.
75% accurate.
Still a pretty high percentage.
What's your AC?
He also is like, Laura, in Calder's mind, he's been called out on his shit. And he doesn't, but he's also dealing with Clarion's grief in his own way. And his response to confrontation isn't to respond in kind like Laura is. His response to confrontation is he gets colder. He gets meaner.
Yeah, almost escalates.
Yeah,
rather than
it doesn't go. He is just as angry and is just as hurt, but it's coming from a much more insidious place than I think anyone can really appreciate. Because he is coming from an abusive household. He is coming from a home culture that is horrifically abusive to him, and he doesn't process it well. So, his summary is, should go to therapy, is adventuring.
Adventuring is basically therapy, right?
So he's also a perfectionist and would much rather this work be done to his satisfaction instead of going back for the bare minimum, because he doesn't think that this bare minimum is worthy of the fucking fight and sacrifice we've done till now.
And that's understanding.
The trauma of losing Clarion, like, there's a sunk cost fallacy happening here.
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. Like, the smart decision is to effing go, but he won't, because he can't latch onto it. Because a part of him is hoping to find something that he suspects is somewhere in Durgan's Keep. He suspects there's either something valuable enough that he can trade to someone who can resurrect Clarion, or something
straight up Phoenix down.
Of how, like, more accurately, a 1000 GP diamond, but
straight up Phoenix down.
Like, getting something
with
of appropriate worth. Yeah, exactly. The Phoenix down with more steps, but his goal is, like, selfishly now like focused on trying to do something for Clarion to justify everything here. But he's also trying to think tactically. He's trying to think like his father. And one of the things that he also is like, oh, there's a dragon down here. His thought goes to, maybe this is the solution to the orc problem.
Maybe.
Oh, great.
A lot of
Great
orcs.
great scaly one. Guess what we found on your front doorstep? Might want to attend that.
A lot of orcs.
Let's talk a little bit about what you had fun with and someone that you want to nod.
I'll start with the nod. So I'm gonna nod but like both Jen and Jeff for showing up and then like knowing that this game was gonna have less of them featured in it. Like that is some commitment, and I appreciate them so much. I also want to like nod Jeff directly for because I've been in Laura's head and I have a tendency to like method act, which means that I can, because of the way I role play, I can get stuck in certain positions. If what happened to Calder had happened to Laura, in that out exploring with Meepo, and Meepo decided to open a door directly in opposition to you, let's not fucking do this 3 or 4 times, Meepo wouldn't be alive.
Oh, no.
I think maybe you underestimate his abilities, but sure.
The door wouldn't have been opened. How about that? The door
If
wouldn't
Meepo
have
hadn't
been
done
open.
it, Karitha would have. She was right behind Meepo.
I should have waited.
Yeah. Like either way, if it was gonna go down, it would have been like, if Laura was in Calder's position, Laura would have been like, y'all got this, and like would have gone and taken the long rest with the other people.
I love how the captions, by the way, just really want to call you Laura instead of Laura.
Laura's full name is Loria.
Oh, fair enough.
Which is actually spelled Lorea. I like Lauria, but that's not correct.
Laura.
So it's close. Laura is close to Loria, but it's fine. Yeah, so I give shout outs to that. I also want to like do like the tiny shout out to Karitha being like, so we're sleeping now. Cool. Bye.
Commit.
Yeah,
I told you, she's very pragmatic.
And that's like that is the mark of a soldier. Like Karitha
Sleep anywhere.
Karitha like right more than anything else, I think, and as a DM, I have not really asked to dig into Karitha's background as much as I could, and I haven't really dug into Karitha's motivations as much as I could, even as a dungeon master.
To you
And when
too.
when someone is like, I'm going to sleep now, and is immediately asleep in the middle of dead bodies all over the place, that tells me that she's a career soldier. Like that's my theory. And I like having theories on player characters rather than knowing everything, every damn thing about every damn character. I like having some surprises, and Karitha is a constant surprise.
Yes.
That being said, I've been, so the plan with the patron kind of loosely started yesterday. And then I kind of built upon it, and I spent a fair amount of today, because we did a talk through the text messages while I was at work, about kind of the direction I wanted it to go in. And I want to actually, that voice, I want to shout out Abria Irongar, because I got that voice from her, and she's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Just saying. Like, that voice is 100% because I have been listening to a lot of her actual plays recently, and I was like, that is the perfect voice. So she's never gonna see this, but like, that one's for you.
Maybe one day. Maybe if we get enough followers.
If that ever happens, I'll die and I'll be happy and it'll be fine.
This is all going up on YouTube, so maybe it'll come across our radar.
I
Who knows?
strongly doubt it. I might tweet about it later, but I don't actually want her to see it. I will die. But I had like the idea of where I was going with it. I had like a general outline. It's not anywhere here, but like I've been thinking about it for the past 6 or 7 hours. So yeah, I didn't expect it to be like the last scene, mind you. I liked that it was, but I didn't expect it.
Well, and of course, there was a potential alternative of Lore leaving the party entirely, and that even with the orcs there, like we could have justified Lore leaving the party if that was a thing that you as a player really wanted to do. We still have the oil of etherealness that could have given you a decent escape route. But I think that I appreciate her coming back, because I really want to see how things shake out between her and Calder. Is one of them going to actually kill the other, or...
I mean, if you let me, I will do a stab. It'll be fine.
Or is it going to end up being like, is shared trauma eventually going to bring them together, or at least put them in a place of mutual disinterest? I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out. And don't say no. You don't get to say no until you get other things happening. Like, things are still going to happen, just like in real life. You don't know what's going to happen.
Well, we will burn that bridge when we get to it.
I love
we will
that
actively
particular
burn that bridge before we get there.
malapropism. I love it.
Malafor.
That's what I meant to say.
Fucking fireball spell and like a bunch of fuel and.
Oh shit! I moved my camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
The the direction that this was what I would call a great use of what I would call dilating time, and like it's a way of exploring and showing more of the setting that we are in that doesn't involve like combat, and it's a way of showing like, oh, the orcs are here, and now we as players can infer more information, and we can discuss it, and you can do the appropriate DM of like pillaging whatever we discussed for ideas.
Yes, and now you're gonna have to find a way out, right? Because you're all surrounded by orcs, and we've had some conversations about that as well. But like now the group's goal has gone from scout the forge to find a way to get out that isn't orcs all the way down.
Oh man, the dream from Durgadin. How did Greta feel about having a dream where she's fighting alongside dwarves? How was that, huh?
That's gonna mess her up just a little bit. She does get that she's in a dwarven tomb right now, but at the same time, she is definitely struggling a bit with the fact that dwarves and orcs are her favorite enemies, and they're the ones that she has been fighting against pretty much all her life.
Full transparency, that was ad-libbed entirely.
It was fantastic.
The moment Jeff said asking Durgadin for protection, that was the moment that I decided I was going to do that thing. It was not anything that I had planned, but like I felt like just saying, okay, you get some temporary HP was not enough. So I threw something in there, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And it felt appropriately dwarvish. That's the sort of thing that Dwarven goes to.
I just want to have like this moment. I would love to have this moment where Kretha wakes up, looks at like the body of what's his name? I don't remember it. I don't pay attention.
Durgan.
Sure, that sounds right. I know nothing about Dwarven history. I'm letting that carry through. And just goes, can you, like, that's a little heavy-handed there, don't you think?
I mean, I feel so much stronger, but
like,
Gail, what were you
why
going
are
to say?
you in my head?
I was going to say, it's now canon that the actual spirit of Durgadin could hear the people in the room. So he heard Charlotte say, I'm just going to take this. I'm just going to take this real quick.
Yeah.
So he actually heard that.
yeah, you didn't think that one through, did you, Rob?
And Durgadin is not. We're not done with Durgadin's spirit. He's
not
because
anymore.
So hey, real talk, real quick. So I have a backup character just in case if Laura dies. If Laura dies, then Laura dies. I wanted to let you know, Rob, that Durgadin is that character's god. I figured you already knew, but like I wanted to state
And
that.
he is a mythical character in dwarven culture at this point. And now that you've seen exactly how he died and how he was legitimately like interred under the bones of his enemies, like that is dwarven. That is the most dwarven thing that any dwarf has ever dwarfed.
Metal as fuck.
Yeah, and we wouldn't
That
have
is metal as fuck.
learned it if we left right away.
And I want to. You wouldn't have learned it if Meepo hadn't opened the door. Oh, I guess Kretha would have. But
Kretha was totally
do-
going to open the door.
in the
She
last
thought it would be a nice distraction for Calder.
in the
I'm
last
not kidding. That was her original plan.
You know what's also a really good distraction for Calder? Sleep.
I know what this nice boy needs. He needs some tombs and undeads.
in the last 15-20
You
minutes,
need some good old-fashioned
I
violence.
I do want to ask the players, those of you who watched, I would like to ask for some speculation and some reactions to the scene at the very beginning of the game. Those of you who watched, that was pre-recorded, but it was pre-recorded like 30 minutes before the game started. And for those
That
of
was
you,
you being this guy.
that was me being that guy.
Guy on the cover of the book.
So for those of the players who weren't able to see the beginning, and for those viewers who weren't here at the very beginning, every now and then I will show up as, and I don't even know the guy's name. He's got a name, I forget what it is. And
right.
he'll talk about, you know, he's sort of a meta character where he says, "Oh, hey, welcome to the Yawning Portal Tavern. It's a real tavern in Waterdeep. We're going to tell you some stories about some things that are happening." And today, he started on his usual spiel. Welcome
Darnan?
Durnan, yep.
Durnan and Durgadin. Goddamn. As
And a mustache.
Yes, he's got the sort of handlebar thing, the sort of mutton chop thing that I can semi-pull off. But maybe for one of these games, I'll actually go full on with the vest and everything. But like in this game, at the very beginning, he was going through his usual "Welcome to the Yawning Portal. We've got a story to tell you," and he's like, "Oh, King Boulder Shoulder,
King.
What are you doing here in the Yawning Portal Tavern in Waterdeep? Oh, you need what? Oh, okay. Hold on just a second. All right, friends, we're going to continue our story in just a moment. I've got some business to attend to, and I'm really interested in what the what the players make of that, because it's really kind of fourth wall meta-y, because the dungeon master is apparently like directly talking to one of the characters. And I'm just curious what you all think about that in general.
I have theories.
I couldn't hear it because it didn't have subtitles.
I have theories as to what Barnabas and Echo and Urki and I'm forgetting the half-orcs.
Sherog, I had to bring her back. She was
Sherog's.
only here for one session, but I had to bring her back.
Right? I have theories about what they're up to.
What kind of theories do you have about what they're up to?
Keep him close to the vest. Don't tell him.
Right? I almost don't want to say in case it's
Don't
your
tell him
actual
because
plan.
he doesn't know yet.
Oh
and
no, I
he's providing
definitely
this
know.
information.
I have from the moment Clarion died, the vignettes and background scene, the adventure within the adventure, or the adventure outside the adventure, is a thing. Like, this party of player characters that aren't player characters are doing a thing. It's all mapped out, and I'd be very interested what your theories are.
By the time they went and got Urki, that solidified my theory of they're trying to find a way to bring Clarion back. I think they're trying to facilitate a greater resurrection at this point. That's my theory.
I also my personal theory is that Barnabas doesn't actually trust us as adventurer. Because he would not have known that Clarion died if he wasn't like kind of checking up on us like a dad.
I think you're mixing up.
His opinion of us is very low.
I think you're mixing up Barnabas and Sven, but yes, Sven is the cleric who's capable of doing these things.
That they needed to fucking scry on us at enough of our adventuring career that he happened to catch that one fight. I think that that he has been scrying on us enough that he doesn't actually trust us to adventure. So So whoever that
you.
is, be at Boulder Shoulders, like, these guys are absolute dumbasses and they have no idea what they're fucking doing.
I mean, he
Please
did go
make
with
sure
you
that they're
through
not
the
dead.
Sunless Citadel, and at certain points, you kind of were dumbasses. Not you, because that was Hyacinth.
Sure.
Barnabas
Sure,
can
but, like,
pass
Boulder
judgment on us
Shoulder
the
also
next
didn't
time he has
watch
to
us do
rescue
half of
us
the
from being
shit.
plant zombies.
Like, were we afraid of the twig monsters? Yes, because twigs are fucking scary, okay? They're terrifying. Outside, bad. Why am I here?
You don't have a garden so much as you have a row of stone columns with the words "fuck" with the words
Laura and
"fuck
Hyacinth have a
shrubbery"
garden.
inscribed in them in every language.
Laura and Hyacinth have a garden, but it was mostly Clarion and Laura's project.
Yeah.
Hyacinth was like, I'm good, thank you.
I will say from a
Clarion would be
meta
like,
level,
you don't want some nice thorn bushes?
I will say on a meta level that nobody
blow the whistle.
that Barnabas has at his disposal is capable of actually scrying or clairvoyancing, but he does have access to a cleric who has things like augury and divination.
Yeah, and fucking true resurrection, which, okay, not true resurrection, but resurrection is what we need at this point because he's been turned into an undead.
Thanks.
It's really fucking high level.
Yeah,
it's not true, which is a fucking 9th level spell, but it's like 5th or 6th. It's up there.
Raised Dead also requires a pretty strict time limit. And,
Oh yeah, we're past Raised Dead.
And it needs the body to be intact. And the body was not intact enough for Raised Dead from the moment the roper crushed him up and ate the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And not
You
in a
don't
fun
even
way.
have all of his bones. Like, you have some of his bones.
Most.
Most.
Most of
You
it.
might be missing a molar or two. You know, you don't need
My
that.
finger bones are probably missing.
We are
The
in the
delicate
last,
small ones.
we're in the last 10 minutes or so. Does anybody in the players or anybody in the chat have any other questions or comments that they'd like to get out before we end the session for realsies?
I definitely like this format. It lets us decompress properly after the game.
I agree. I think it was a good idea.
So yeah, big fan of it already. The I just do want to reassure our viewers and everything. No, I absolutely adore Em for everything that she's put me through as Calder. We're fine, and I'm enjoying this experience of being tormented by my teammate. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and again, the fact that I was able to just sit here, I had two buttons, right? The button that was M's camera and the button that was Olivia's camera. And just going, my entire job for like an hour was just hitting those two buttons as people talked. And I loved that. Like, I'm glad that we got the one combat encounter in, because one combat encounter, like 0 combat encounters in a D&D session is a little bit weird, and it's not bad, but it's a little bit weird.
Unnatural.
I'm glad we got the one combat encounter in, but the back and forth between Charlotte and Lore was probably the best scene of this entire module so far.
Incidentally, I am not supportive of the Calder and Meepo ship at all.
Because down for that.
Me neither. What the fuck? What the actual
I've been
fuck?
keeping that in my back pocket. That's
not
why
a fan.
if you go back and look, Charlotte has been subtly asking Meepo about Calder this whole time.
Calder's entire thing
She
for
has
Meepo is,
been
this is
fucking
my
obvious.
adopted lizard son. He
Yes.
is scaly, but he is mine. Hurt him and I will ruin you.
Something that I haven't really like mentioned about Meepo is I have tried really hard with limited success that kobolds don't really have a concept of individual pronouns. Things like he or she or they or I aren't really a thing, because kobolds are not necessary. They're more almost eusocial. They're almost like ants or bees. They really like connect with the people that they're with. And at the moment, the only person that he was with when he was found is is Calder, since Clarion died. And it makes sense that since Clarion died, Meepo would cleave even harder to the one person who was there and showed him kindness when he was at his absolute worst. When he was still, she's gone. Like
me, Olivia, I don't think the ship
of course
is there at all. Charlotte is convinced.
Laura
picked
has
up
now
on it.
been convinced.
And by the way,
Charlotte completely misread Calder trying to flirt with her way back at the beginning too. Like,
Of course.
not to toot
Charlotte
my own
doesn't have a
horn,
good
but I have definitely been utilizing Meepo as a source of emotional manipulation since the very moment that you met him.
Absolutely.
Hashtag kill the DMPC.
And I'm really glad that he survived the Sunless Citadel, because there was every reason to believe that Meepo would not have survived the Sunless Citadel.
So I have a legitimate like feedback question.
Yeah.
This is coming from my like years of experience as a like artist and stuff. That last scene, did it hit well?
Yes,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
I'm
Yes,
totally
it
not
did.
about to go draw it.
And
I don't know what you're talking about.
I hope I yes-anded it well enough as well.
Yeah.
Because I agree. And there's kind of a thing, Fae tend to never speak with just one voice. So I kind of,
Did that shadowing?
I did sort of a shadow voice as well, sort of behind you while you were talking, only a couple of times. But like it feels like when because Fae are duplicitous, right? They never believe just one thing. But I really loved that scene. I think it hit really well. And I'm really excited to see what the consequences are going forward emotionally, both for the character and for the people around, because sooner or later people are going to realize, wait, so you didn't get wounded this fight, so why are you bleeding?
Sooner or later, Charlotte has her hand on the weapon and is identifying it as we cut the episode.
Yeah.
Jeff, what's up?
I do want, if I can make a request of our artist, would love just an artist rendition of that encounter with, Meepo headstrong going into the room and then looking up at the end of the fight, looking up at Calder, like expecting admonishment because like I goofed, and Calder just like, I can't stay mad at you.
Well, Meepo did trigger a trap in... This is not the first time Meepo has taken the party headlong into danger, right? Meepo was the one in the Sunless Citadel who triggered the trap that caused that gigantic fight with the spiders, which was one of the kind of iconic fights of that module. It was not meant to be. It was meant to be giant rats, but like. And by the way, there was supposed to be a giant rat in this last fight as well, but I have been subtly changing them out for other things. I know you're not a big fan of fighting rats, and I'm good with that.
In Meepo's defense, Hyacinth did suggest that he read it.
That's true, but from
In Meepo's defense, he has had the worst role models.
But
Just
from someone who comes from a pseudo eusocialist society, like he still feels. Even now, he still feels awful for having triggered that. So, like, yeah, I can definitely see how you would look up at Calder and be like, Meepo did bad?
Meepo's fine. Meepo did fine.
Also, it was his very first, like, really big smite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Since he picked up Paladin, that was his first like really big 19 points of damage just from the smite, like fuck you undead kind of shit. And I think that it was a really big stride in Meepo's character, I think.
I was gonna say, does he have turn undead at his level?
He technically has a channel divinity, but I'm playing Meepo as kind of like, because I keep forgetting the things he can do because I've got my mind on 15 things at once as the DM. I'm playing him as kind of the new paladin who's still figuring out his powers. Like he should have smote the roper. it wouldn't have killed the Roper, it wouldn't have made a difference, but he did manage at least one solid hit on the Roper. He definitely should have used Divine Smite then, but he didn't because I forgot. But from an in-character perspective, it's because he's still figuring out his powers. This is also the first time he's cast Bless, I think. Maybe the second time he cast Bless.
Successfully. He cast it once before and got it knocked out of him like the next turn.
Right. I think that was during the Roper fight, right? He threw Bless out and then he got hit by the Roper and immediately lost it. Yeah. We have 3 minutes left. I would love any very, very final comments, either from chat or from players before we get going. Do you have any just last second, like 30-second things to say? And then we'll do some plugs. What's up?
No, Olivia's hand was up first.
Olivia, what's up?
I'll go really quick. Emma, it was really fun doing the back and forth scene with you where it started off with a lot of like them talking at each other and not with each other. And then like the more Charlotte talked about like how guilty she was feeling, how much she kind of wanted to go back. And then Laura started suggesting like, oh, maybe we can just stop at the town. Maybe we can just send it. Like, it was so cool to see like them like get that peek into kind of the sort of friendship that they would have had back in school versus who they are now, and it kind of peeking through in the like they seem like the kind of friends who on a drunk walk could talk each other into almost anything.
Yeah, 100%. That's kind of the thought that I had between them. It's just like, if you got these two people high, neither of them are good trip setters at all, and we're just like, it would be like, this is how we ended up deciding that we needed to be at the bottom of the lake in Waterdeep. It just happened. Like, we have water breathing, but like, we're here now.
All right, let's do some plugs.
One quick thing.
Go ahead.
I want to make a request,
and then plug your stuff when you're done making your request. Go ahead.
The request is that, can we go over safety tools at the beginning of next session?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. Plug your pluggables.
I am on all of the things, one silver key. So I stream on Twitch. I do Twitter occasionally. I have an Instagram that exists for sure. And I have a Facebook page. My next stream is Thursday. I'm doing something, probably Spirit Fair. It's my birthday on Thursday. So, like, stop in, say hi. If you want to drop a sub, it's September. They're 20% off. I'm not going to stop you. Drop a sub here. Not going to stop you. But, like, say hi. It's my birthday and stuff.
Jen, plug your pluggables.
I'm the Swedish Geekball. I am the Swedish Geekball on Twitch, on Facebook, on Twitter, and I also do streaming. I stream art. I stream games. I will be playing with Em on her birthday game on Saturday, which is private, so sorry guys, but it's gonna be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that, and yeah.
Jackie Boy K, thank you very, very, very much for your subscription. I appreciate you. Jeff, plug your pluggables.
Yes, I'm kind of just discombobulated out there. I'm the Zagreus01 on Instagram, where I post some of my art sometimes when I remember. And over TikTok, you can find me at Still Tired and Angry. And there I post time lapses or tours of my sketchbooks and the things I've been working on since this very silly hiatus of mine in Arizona.
And Gail is mysterious and unfindable. I am at Math Demigod, both on Twitch and Twitter. If you would like to review the videos of all of our campaigns going very back to the beginning at level 1, you can go to youtube.com/gamingmathematically, where I play Dungeons and Dragons and I play XCOM every now and then, and I've got some Pokemon Go tutorials on that channel. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll have a great time with it. You can also go to professor-cunningham.com, where I've got 2 other YouTube channels. You can find those there. And also, if you enjoyed this, encourage folks to come to our live replay on Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to do a live replay. It's going to be all of this right now. I won't make the joke that I usually make. And we will go ahead and We will be in chat. We're going to be making some commentary, assuming that my internet doesn't fuck up like it did last time. I will be here for the whole time. It's going to be a lot of fun. I will be starting a new XCOM Long War of the Chosen campaign fairly soon as I am confident that I can actually beat that game. Where I will be taking users and followers and subscribers specifically and making their likeness in the game so that you can actually be part of the game.
And get murdered.
And potentially get murdered, but I'm trying really hard to steady up on the game so that instead of killing my friends, which is the usual title that I give this, I'm gonna call this new episode something along the lines of helping my friends succeed, because I really want, or helping my friends win, because I really want this time to be less about my friends dying over and over and over again. Like Jeff, for example, has probably died more than any single individual. We'll call it not killing my friends. I like that one as well. With that in mind, friends, thank you very much for being here. It's been a great stream. We will be back in 2 weeks on Tuesday, yes? Which would be...
Yes. So we will be back on the 5th of October.
On the 5th
Tuesday.
of October, we will be back. Again, we moved our game from Wednesday to Tuesday because I know a very prolific streamer that I admire very much also runs on Wednesday, and I did not want to compete with him. So if you are in that particular streamer's Discord, please hype us up. I would really like for us to get a few more viewers. I really think that these players, like, irrespective of my own ability as a DM, I think that these players really deserve more viewers than we have. So with that said, viewers say goodbye to the players, players say goodbye to the viewers. It's been fantastic. I love you all. Thank you very much. We will see you in a couple of weeks. And happy fall.
Tomorrow.
Have a good night.
Good night.